In this series, we've delved into the creative arts scene around the UK to shine a spotlight on the young event creators of tomorrow. Everyone featured is aged 25 and under. Here we are looking at Manchester and some of the most exciting events taking place in the city. Today, Manchester's legacy and heritage still runs deep, but with the pressures from the council on clubs and licensing, we will see how this inspires those involved in the creative arts and how the limitations on what they can do result in the parties that take place.
When we started, we were like, the whole idea I think was we went to a lot of things and I kind of had this attitude like if we got up there and have like a really good time, but I really want it to be like fun. Like if I'm up there dancing around being silly, dressed all in pink, like you can as well.
I think the purpose of Boy Girl is to provide that free, exciting space where you can express yourself and you can be yourself for like however long the party lasts if you can't get that anywhere else. And I think that's a really powerful thing. Like the ability to feel safe and to be able to express yourself is incredibly powerful and does a lot for individuals as well as a collective, kind of like showing off a different side of the culture here.
I'm David from Ad Hoc Records. We're a Manchester-based record label, booking agency, events company and radio show. The radio station that I got the show on, they used to be based in a sort of converted office block. The rents were just like too high for them. They had to think innovatively and they thought, you know, where are some places that we've put on event? How about we use one of the spaces in those locations and convert our studio there? So this shop that we've put on parties before, and we've actually soundproofed this room and turned it into a studio for the station. There's been a string of venues closing, but I think it's almost inevitable in a city that embraces property-led regeneration, that there's a conflict between building expensive apartment and having late-night venues. Fewer venues for promoters to run parties in, and the large dominant promoters kind of exploit that and try and corner the market. There's still kind of issues that the scene has and that we need to deal with. So although it's a really exciting time, I think you really need to kind of almost fight for your right to be able to use this city as a cultural scene.
I'm Sophie, and fundraising is a mixed media platform. We do like charity events and we cover other people's events that are for charity. There's Solomon's Cafe Bar. This is where we held Art Box, which is our first ever event, and that's where we raised for Manchester Mind. Basically just got like 50 artists' pieces of work and had them all in here and then auctioned them off. We only thought of doing that because we couldn't find a club that wasn't all booked up.
I think the closure of clubs definitely has led to us trying to use more interesting spaces. For instance, here it's like so cool. Like I would have never known that there's like this basement here that was perfect for the event that we did.
With clubs closing all the time and the fact that they're so expensive to rent anyway, people have started to use like more cafes and dive bars more than, you know, these huge venues. So there's always ways around it.
Love for the Streets is an events and marketing platform which aims to engage more young people in the issues of homelessness and like helps tackle the issues in more creative ways.
So really there's an entire city and community of people coming together to tackle this issue. And that's really what keeps me inspired and optimistic about how we're moving forward. Because as difficult as a situation as it might be, the one thing about Manchester is we always continue to come together and power through.
I think people are more willing to respond to those issues in different ways as a unified city rather than isolated ways. There's been a massive increase of events with people attending because it's partying for a purpose now. The term has fully been coined, and the popularity of these events just shows how invested people are in that kind of third sector ideology of like giving back.
How do people help that don't know always how to help? It's an easy thing to do if you talk to a DJ. Who would have known that they could volunteer being a DJ? For us, Love for the Streets has really been sort of a platform for people who may never have ever volunteered. From photographers, to graphic designers, to musicians, playing and volunteering and actually raising money and raising awareness of issues that they care about but they didn't really know how to help.
Like social enterprise is becoming a huge thing amongst our generation. It's not something I've heard any time before that. But across the field, whether you're looking at events and club nights or you're looking at businesses, or people are finding ways to make a difference, and it's becoming more and more important to us as a generation to do that.
Bloom is an all-women's DJ collective. Bloom for me was just a chance to showcase women and non-binary artists who just don't get the chance to headline their own shows or anything, but also about not just the visible women playing, also behind the scenes and more the operational side of events and electronic music.
It's very easy to be socially conscious now. More millennials are vegan, more millennials are recycling, more millennials are talking about racism and gender equality and other social justice issues like that. So I think it's almost like a natural progression that filters through into your weekend. People wanting a more socially conscious party does contribute to the better because it just makes it not just so much about that like mindless hedonism that it may have been before. It does just give what you're doing like that extra bit of meaning. If you're going to a night that has like certain values or like a message behind it, that most of those other people in that room are going to share those values with you, and it just makes you feel more connected as a crowd, I think, as well.
It's always just there, like in the back of your mind, thinking, wow, like all of these amazing people have come through Manchester. It has such a great heritage. But actually, because of that, I personally don't feel any pressure to be like, I have to be trying to keep up with that. If anything, I think it lets you be more creative because it has been such an experimental city. People are more willing to kind of let you try out new things and just see if it works or not.
It's really great to be a part of the Manchester music scene now because it is such a historically musical city. Like obviously we had Britpop, we had a thriving rave culture, which is sort of almost like echoes of today, but you know, like the hacienda is now flat. Like it's not what it used to be, but I think it's very telling that there's still a really strong community of electronic music here.
I really hope that the City Council appreciate the value that creativity and cultural scene that this city has and make it integral to their sense of development, because you can have all the skyscrapers you want with all the expensive apartments, but if you don't have venues that people want to move to the city for, I don't see much point in moving to a city if it's just full of kind of fancy apartments and fancy shops. You need more.
I think we look back on this time as effectively the age where we use music, art and culture to power a social revolution. You know, where we brought people together around these issues, got them engaging on different topics and brought communities, created communities that were able to create real change in our city and beyond.